Greetings, Internet. Happy 2018 to everybody. It is January 1st when I'm filming this, and that means it is a new year. I turned 26 back on November 20th, and during that time, I started reflecting on all of the things that I learned in my 25th year of life, if you will, and I kind of compiled this list of 25 things that I learned at 25. And I thought that it would be kind of cool to do it now in the new year because these are all things I'm taking with me in 2018 and we are leaving behind all of the negativity in 2017. I kind of just made this list and things started popping into my mind. I was brainstorming with a few of my friends, and I think a lot of the things on the list are kind of redundant or repetitive in a way, but they all kind of served their different purpose in my life throughout the last year. And we're just gonna hop right into it because I got a lot of ground to cover. Number one, bad decisions happen. And it's okay. And this was a huge theme for me in the last year or so. Just bad decisions happen. It's okay if they do. What really counts is how you kind of learn from that mistake, but also how you take ownership of that bad decision that you made. Making one bad choice or a couple of bad choices or even a lot of bad choices doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person. It just means maybe you need to take some time to reflect on what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and kind of what you're hoping to gain by making these choices or these decisions. Bad decisions happen. Doesn't make you a bad person, kids. Just makes you a little bit lapsed in judgment for the time being. If you have to second guess yourself with a situation, with a person, with anything, you more than likely should not be involved with that set of circumstances. Whether you're constantly second guessing the way you are with somebody else or kind of second guessing, does this person like me? Is this friendship worth it? Is this relationship worth it? If you have to constantly second guess that and things don't just kind of flow seamlessly. And now this is not to say things are not going to be difficult, because I think that no matter where you go in life, even if it's the perfect path, right thing to do, you're always going to have obstacles. But if you're second guessing yourself, your integrity, your sense of morals, or even just a sense of what you think is important or a sense of who you are, delete it, get it out of your life. You don't need it. I promise you'll be better off without that person, without that thing, without that situation. I swear. You owe it to yourself to be selfish, and that's okay. And you have to put you first. And I'm not saying don't care about anybody else, because I still think you can care about yourself, put you first, but also extend that to others. And you have to be able to take a step back and say, hey, this is not good for me. This is not something I need to be doing. I need to take this time for myself. Or even if you just take a step back, take that mental health day. It's important to think about you first, put yourself first, and to value yourself enough to know, okay, well, this is my life. It's just me. It's just you living your life, and you have to do what's right for you, and you can be selfish in the decisions that you make in order to make sure you're living your best life, you know? You will know who truly cares about you and who is just putting on a facade or pretending like they care. Because most times people will talk, people will gossip, people will put in their 2 cents, but at the end of the day, they really don't care. And those people who do care are the ones who are going to sit you down and say, listen, look here, sis. This is what we're not doing. This is not right. This is not cool. Get it together and let's do better. No matter who talks, what they say, what they do, the people who really care about you, you'll know who those people are, and those are going to be the ones who are supportive of you, but also tell you the truth and tell you like it is. At the end of the day, when people talk, most of the times it's just because they're bored, they want to find entertainment. And I mean, think about why we all gossip. It's something entertaining to distract ourselves from our own lives. And I think that we need to all turn that focus inward and focus on ourselves and just doing those things that make us smile. This is huge. So write it down, take notes, and put it everywhere where you look. Money will make you comfortable, not happy. I learned this the hard way because when I was back in DC, I kept thinking, well, if I get a job where I can support myself, I'll be happy, it'll solve all my problems. And guess what? It made my problems a lot easier, but I still was having this sadness, this funk, this just overall negative outlook. And I've learned that that sense of happiness, that sense of positivity, while the money situation makes it comfortable and it can aid some of that stress that comes with not being financially stable, it's not going to make you happy, because you can buy all you want, but at the end of the day, you're buying to distract from something else, a bigger issue of something internally that you probably should look at. I'm not going to say that money isn't great, because it is, and it afforded me the comfort and the ability to explore some of those reasons why I wasn't happy. Being able to explore and focus on my own personal feelings as opposed to the stress of, I can't afford this bill, I can't do this, I can't do that. And so, yeah, money is good and it alleviates that stress, but that sense of happiness is going to come from you. I promise you that. Solid girlfriends are everything. I used to be one of those girls who's like, I don't like girls, there's so much drama, only boys, blah, blah, blah. But I have a solid core couple of girlfriends, and they're everything to me. I don't know what I would do without them. And there's something valuable if you're a girl, if you're a woman, or if you're a guy and finding a solid group of guy friends, but I think for guys it's easier. But for girls, ladies out there, I know that kind of view of there's so much drama, there's so much cattiness, but if you're in a good place and you find people that are aligned with the place that you're in, they don't necessarily have to be into the same things or on the same paths, because my core group of girls that I would consider that I go to for everything, we all like different things and we're all so vastly different, but we can all cheer each other on and we all want to see the next do better and do good for themselves. And that sense of cheerleading, if you will, and that sense of support is everything. And I'm telling you, ladies, find yourself your solid 1 or 2 girlfriends. You don't need a lot. You don't need too many, just a couple. And it's life-changing. I promise you that. I wonder how many times I'm going to promise you things, but don't take my word for it. I'm just kind of talking from personal experience here, but take what you will. And don't take my promises too seriously. Shifting your mind into a scale instead of black and white, so everything's good, everything's bad, everything's great, everything sucks. If you shift into a scale, it'll help you to find those little things that we're all supposed to be grateful for every day, and all those little positive things that are supposed to, you know, be the center of our focus, which is sometimes hard to forget, which is sometimes hard to remember when you're under a lot of stress or you're not having the best day. And kind of shifting into that scale will help you in your mind to reframe things and find the good. So for example, I wake up, I'm having a bad day, and I would rate myself probably at a 2, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. And then I go and make myself a real bomb cup of coffee, and then maybe my day goes up to a 4. And then maybe I talk to a friend on the phone. We have an awesome conversation, goes up to a 6, but I also know I got to go to work soon and work is stressful and I don't really want to be there that day, whatever the case is. And then maybe I slide back to a 5, but I'm still better than I was when I woke up. And just generally looking at things like that and breaking things down into small pieces, I have found has helped me to maintain a more positive mindset consistently throughout the day, instead of I've had this one slip up or I've had this one issue that's caused me stress and now my whole day is ruined. And by looking at things as kind of like that sliding scale of we're going to move more positive, oop, this might have moved me more negative, it helps me to also stay focused on my goals, because by focusing on my goals and doing those things that make me feel fulfilled, that I'm passionate about, it helps me to shift my day up into a more positive and better place. It is so important to be honest and vulnerable with yourself, but also with others. But honesty, and especially vulnerability, does not have to equate to being stupid or to having your eyes closed in a certain situation. It's important that we embrace our emotions and allow ourselves to feel whatever it is that we're feeling, because your emotions, your feelings, your reactions in certain situations, whatever, is valid. And that's okay. And it's important to be kind to yourself. And maybe you don't like the way that you're reacting in a certain situation, or you don't like the way that you feel about something. It's important to recognize that, because once you recognize, okay, well, this is what I'm feeling, don't necessarily want to feel like that, you can start to take those steps to change that and to change those thoughts that are getting triggered in your mind in relation to whatever it is that's making you feel what you don't want to feel. And like I said, vulnerability is so important because it gets you in touch with those emotions. It allows you a place to embrace those feelings and to be honest with yourself and with others. But again, that doesn't mean that you're stupid or that your vulnerabilities are going to make you put you in a position to be hurt, because that's not necessarily the case. If you're vulnerable but safe about it and guard it in a way of, I'm going to be open, but I'm also going to keep this piece of myself just for me so I can explore these little situations. So honesty, vulnerability, but have your eyeballs open. Appreciate the classics. And whether it's books or movies or TV shows or music, did I say music? I don't remember. But embrace the classics, because our history, our sense of pop culture, what's popular, it all kind of evolved from the classics, and things change. And what I always like about the classics, whether I'm reading F. Scott Fitzgerald, or I'm reading Hemingway, or I'm reading Allen Ginsberg, or I'm listening to Patti Smith or Jimi Hendrix, whatever it is, listening to Green Day, although they're still present, but you know, whatever it is, I always like to look at whatever it was, whether it's a book, a movie, a show, a song, and what that was saying during the time it was written. So kind of looking at it against the social atmosphere, political atmosphere, and seeing that impact and seeing where it came from and getting in touch with those feelings and trying to put myself in that place in that time. And I don't know, I just think it's really important, because as a culture, it's the foundations and things that we've grown upon and evolved from, or lack thereof. And it's important to be able to reflect on that, look at that, and it gives you a better sense of perspective in the present and the now. Throw away the idea that your soulmate, your person, has to be a romantic partner, because that's not the case at all. Once you kind of let go of that thought process, your life is going to be changed. Now, Sammy has been my best friend since we were 16. Oh my God, it's been 10 years. She's been my best friend for 10 years now. And I truly believe she is my person. She is my soulmate. And do I think I have a romantic soulmate out there somewhere? Yeah, I like to think that way, because I'm a hopeless romantic. But Samantha is my person, and she knows this, and she's watching this, and Samantha, you already know what's up. But I think that your best friend can be your person. It's just somebody who truly gets you, who knows you, you know them, you get them, and you're kind of just always there filling in the gaps, and there's that synchronicity between the two of you. And Sammy, I love you. I don't know what I'd do without you. And that's another thing we're bringing into 2018. Positive, good friendships that build us up and give us support. Always welcome new people into your life, whether you think they might be weird, whether you kind of have a crush on them, but just welcome anybody. Like, let kind of the tides of people ebb and flow into your life, but also let people go from your life. So say you have a friend and you feel like you're drifting, you feel like you're losing them. Let them go. It's okay. Whether it's something with you, whether it's something with them, it's just not meant to be at that time in your life. And if they're meant to be there, you two will come back together, you'll grow back together, whatever the case is. It's important that you welcome new people into your life, because I truly believe that everyone in your life serves a purpose in some way. So whether it's a lifelong friend or just someone to have a certain experience with and then you both move forward, whatever it is, welcome those new opportunities and that sense of growth and exploration, but also let people go. And it might be sad, it might hurt, but it's important to kind of let the tides go as they may, because the important people and the people that are truly meant to be in your life, they'll come back around and you guys will reconnect, and it'll be like you never missed a beat. And kind of on that same notion of letting people go, find that sense of closure for yourself. So whether you write a letter, you never send it, or you do write a letter and you do send it, or you send that one last text to try to see where you're both at with things, whatever it is, find that sense of closure for yourself. Because if somebody leaves your life and you're constantly worrying about them and worrying about that friendship and what you could have done different, all of these new people that are going to try to come in, it's not going to happen, because you're focusing over here when you need to be focusing this way for right now. And they're going to do their thing, you're going to do your thing. And eventually, maybe you two will figure it out, or not, you just move forward. But you need to find that sense of, okay, I'm ready to close this door. Whether I open it in the future, great. If I don't, cool. But at least the door is closed, and now you can open up this other door and let those new opportunities come your way. Go do that thing. I promise you, you'll thank me for it. This I will promise. This you can hold me accountable for. For example, in, what was it, October, I went to a Giants game because they were playing the Seahawks, which is my team. I'm so sad we're not in the playoffs, but that's okay. But we decided, hey, let's get in the car, let's go. We found cheap tickets and we went to the game. And that is something, that was one of my highlights of the last year, was going to this football game. It was my first professional football game. It was so much fun. I got to see Jimmy Graham score a touchdown, and Jimmy Graham is my favorite Seahawk. Oh my gosh. I love that 6'7" tall drink of water. Go do that thing. It can be free. It can be a vacation, but whatever it is that you want to do and you feel like you're being drawn to do this thing, make it happen for yourself. You owe yourself that much to make it happen and to do it. Just do it. This is another thing that I learned as I've gotten older. Just be silly. Be silly, embrace the moment, have fun, and just do what you want to do like no one else is watching. Because at the end of the day, like we said before, the people who truly care about you, they're going to be the ones right there with you being silly and having fun. So just embrace it, love it, smile, laugh, dance around, whatever. Make a fool of yourself, but just have fun and be silly. And just always remember that, because it makes life a lot more fun. Coming back to do that thing, spend your money on experiences. Now, this is not every case, all case, never spend your money on anything material again. Like if you want to go buy that palette, you want to go buy yourself something nice, treat yourself, live your life. But focus on those experiences and what you're being drawn to want to do, and make sure that you make it happen. So for example, 2018 is going to be the year I go to Seattle. So my spending and my budgeting and saving is with that in mind. On the experience page, I know I want to go to Seattle, and I know I more than likely want to go to a Seahawks game in Seattle. So I'm trying to plan and spend and budget accordingly so that I can make this happen, because this is something that I've wanted to do for years and years and years now. And it's finally time I make it happen. It is okay to follow your heart. Now, this goes back to embracing your vulnerabilities, embracing your feelings, but also goes back to stupid decisions, and it's okay. Because sometimes your heart's going to tell you one thing and your brain's going to be like, sis, what are you doing? This is not what we need to do. But sometimes you just got to follow your heart. And I think that that's a part of being young and being stupid, if you will. I don't think it's necessarily being stupid. I think it's just you're exploring what works, what doesn't work for you, what feels right, what doesn't feel right for you. And it's okay. And even if you make a mistake, knowing that it's what you wanted in that moment and what you felt was the thing to do in that moment, you don't really have those regrets. And like I said, I've made mistakes in the last year, but I don't regret any of them, because all of them I've learned from, I've taken ownership of, and now I'm just moving forward and trying to embrace my heart, but also embrace my brain and make them somehow meet in the middle, which again, all circles around this idea of making your own mistakes. And you can listen to others and objectively you can look at a situation, but that's not always applicable when you're in it in the moment and feelings are involved. It's that experience that you're learning from and something that you have personally. And we can hear others' stories and we can learn from others' stories and wisdom and all that stuff, but we also have to learn for ourselves just right. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Whether you journal, whether you just write a bunch of random words on paper, whether you write a stream of consciousness of whatever's going through your mind, write it down. Write down your ideas, write down your creative projects, write down that story that you've been thinking of and you want to write. Write down everything. Just write. Get it out on paper. Because for me personally, when I write and it becomes tangible and something that I can see, I can clear out my head for new ideas, or I can look at it, organize myself, and then make it come to life. So just write, kids. Get a notebook, get 10 notebooks, get 40 notebooks. I don't care. Get yourself some paper, get yourself a pen, and write. Just write everything. You'll thank me. Always make time for home. Whether it's a place, whether it's people, those things and those people and those places that feel like home for you, always make time for them, because that is what's going to recharge you, it's going to keep you grounded, and it's going to make you feel like you have a sense of stability, wholeness. I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I know I have to make time to go home every couple of months, back to New York, back to Long Island. I also have to make time to see friends from back home and talk to friends from back home, because again, it's giving me that sense of these people know who I was before now, And it gives me that sense of grounding, and these people have seen me grow and I've seen them grow. Or even with family, it's just, that's my family, that's what feels like home. So it's important that you make time for those things. And whether your home is cross country, your home is down the street, make time for those things. And maybe it's not family, and maybe it's not a place, maybe it's something for yourself that you do where you feel that sense of balance and you feel like home. Home can be anything, just like you can fall in love with anything. Anything can be your home. But wherever it is that you feel safe and you feel that you're grounded, make time for it. Let those who you care about know. Make sure that those in your life know that you love them, that you care for them, and that you're thankful that they're in your life. This goes without saying, this you should be doing no matter what, but we all kind of forget about that, and we all kind of wait until certain holidays. But it's important to let those in your life know how much you value their presence in your life. This one might seem a little bit silly, but I am a firm believer of keeping a separate work wardrobe from my just everyday hanging out at home, or even just every day I'm running to the store, I'm going out. I keep it separate, because when I get dressed for work, I get into that mindset of, okay, I'm going to be professional. I know I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I know that I'm going to be in work mode and I'm going to engage in that way. Whereas when I'm at home hanging out in band tees or Marvel tees, whatever it is, it's a different mindset, and it helps me to kind of differentiate and keep my work self and my personal self separate. And not that they're two different people per se, but the professionalism that comes with work is definitely a specific mindset. And I think we can all agree to that, that the way that you have to engage at work is definitely not necessarily how you engage day to day. Set boundaries that align with your sense of integrity, your sense of morals, your sense of self-respect. And sometimes that means making a decision you don't necessarily want to make, or making a decision that might be hard, or not necessarily making the fun decision, or being boring and being an adult, whatever it is. But it's important that you always maintain those boundaries to align with that integrity and self-respect, because if you start to blur those lines and you start to act in a way that might feel okay right now, but down the line you start to second guess yourself, it's never a good place to be. We never want to be in a position where we regret anything. We second guess who we are. We second guess ourselves and our sense of integrity, because once you give away that integrity, you can't ever get it back. Sometimes being there for somebody just means listening. And I think as people, when we care about somebody, we want to be able to fix their problems. We want to be able to take away that pain. We want to be able to give them that sage advice that's going to solve all their problems. But sometimes you just need to be there to listen. Sometimes a person just needs to know that they're not alone, and that somebody is there listening with them. And not that you're taking their pain away, but you're there with them in that pain or in that hardship, in that stress, whatever it is. And just knowing that they have that support, you don't always have to fix everything. And at the end of the day, realistically, it's up to that person, whoever's going through it, it's up to them to fix their own things, their own ish, whatever it is that's going on. Change happens unconsciously. And it's kind of an oxymoron, because in order to make a change, you have to consciously start thinking about those things that you want to change and start acting accordingly and changing behaviors, changing your schedule, whatever it is. But when change truly happens and it just kind of clicks, it happens subconsciously, and you start doing things without even thinking about it. Change those things, change those habits, start thinking about it, become aware of it. But when it truly happens and it truly just kind of transitions, it's all going to start to happen unconsciously, and things will just flow, and you won't notice it at first. You'll kind of just look back and be like, oh, hey, wow, this has gotten easier, or oh, hey, I made this change. Oh, hey, I'm looking good. Whatever it is, it kind of happens on that unconscious, unaware level. You don't have to label everything. It's okay. You don't have to label who you are as a person, what you like, who you want to be with. If you're liking somebody, you don't have to label your relationship. Generally, as a whole, we want to feel like we're a part of something bigger. We want to feel that sense of community, that sense of belonging. So we label things, whether it's our sexuality, what we're into, how we identify. There's 1,001 things that you can label about yourself. And it'll help you to fit in with the larger culture. And that's great. And I think that that's important, that we have that sense of identity within the whole. But it's also important that we just be ourselves. Because sometimes, I know I was guilty of this, I would label myself as one thing and then I would do stuff to fit that label, but it wasn't necessarily me. So once I took away the labels and I took away, well, I identify as this person or I identify as this person, and I was just me, I became a lot happier for it. And then I found those connections and those relationships with things, with people, whatever it is, that were more true to myself and aligned more with what I found important on a more spiritual level. So you don't have to label everything. It's okay. You can kind of just float and figure it out as you go. That is it for this video. These are the lessons we're taking with us into 2018. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe down below, comment, let me know some of the things that you've learned in the last year. Also, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And until the next time, I will see you guys in the next video.